The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 0-3, if you can believe it or not, for the first time since 2012. Welcome inside Game Day After Dark here on Bonfire Sports. My name is Darrin Bauming. Schnitzy will join us in just a couple minutes. Be great to get a fan's perspective on tonight's game. 26-24, the BC Lions moved to 2-1 with a win over the 0-3 Blue Bombers. And great to see everybody in the live chat tonight. I have no doubt that people want their opinions heard. People want their questions answered. And we're going to try something a little bit differently tonight. Thank you, everybody, for starting or joining us and hanging in there as we came on a little bit late. John Chan just touched on that. 0-3 for the first time since 2012. It'll be worth the wait tonight. It will be worth the wait tonight because we are going to tell the story of today's game a little bit differently. We are going to tell the story of tonight's game with a whole bunch of video highlights. Right through from the first quarter all the way through to the end of the game. I've got Marquise Bridges' forced fumble on Travis Fulham. I got Dalton Schoen's incredible sideline catch that set up Chris Streveler's first of 3 touchdowns. You are going to see tonight the way Buck Pierce utilized Chris Streveler as a running back and a receiver. Yeah, he had the drop in the first quarter, but the way they utilized him to keep BC off balance, utilized him as a quarterback, as a receiver, as a running back, as a wildcat quarterback, and as a decoy to help both Zach Collaros and Brady Oliveira get a little bit more time out there. We'll touch on Brady Oliveira and the whole, I don't know, weirdness that is a healthy Brady Oliveira. Clear as day, he's healthy enough to play, but not listed as the starter on the depth chart, and having to wait for his opportunity in this game. Didn't play at all in the first quarter, I don't believe, and got it going in the second. Would love to see all of your comments in the live chat. I see everybody here, Friesen and Josh Wolf and T Winnipeg and everybody out there. Robert Campbell and Duck, we see you out there. Great. All the Bonfire OGs. Andrea, John Boydiano, haven't seen you in the live chat before. Welcome. Thanks for joining us around the bonfire. We're going to have a ton of fun tonight here on the show, even though Bombers fans probably not feeling too festive right now with their team at 0-3. I don't know where you want to get into it. Maybe we can start by taking a look at the numbers. And I think it'll be a good way to at least gain a little bit of perspective on what we saw tonight. Also going to see video highlights of how Winnipeg mishandled, in my opinion, the game clock entering halftime, leaving points on the board. Hey, you know, they lose tonight by 2 points, and they left a field goal on the field at the end of the second quarter. First downs pretty even between BC and Winnipeg. The Bombers much better on second down tonight. That's awesome to see. Just short of 60%. Offensive plays and average yards per game, nothing really jumped out. Hey, 500 yards of net offense for the BC Lions. The Bombers, they entered this week the only team in the CFL with less than 300 net yards per game through their first 2 games. So to see them well eclipse 300, positive, at least a positive there. Rushing yards, pretty much close, or pretty much even. Winnipeg averaging 4.3 yards per carry to BC's 5.1, and then passing. VA went off. Would you believe his over-under number on passing yards today was like 300 yards? Nearly got 400 tonight. 63% was Vernon Adams Jr. And Winnipeg as a team, 76% passing. We'll look at Zach Collaros, the receivers, the running backs, all of their individual numbers in just a second. Of course, a little bit later in the show, we'll get into WALBY'S Warrior, Westwood's Wide to the Right. The Bonfire Burning Point tonight will be hotly debated, and we'll have our happy honker, hand out our game balls, do all those good things. And again, tons of video highlights coming your way. The good, the bad, and everything in between. Winnipeg punted the ball 5 times. I've got a great clip of Jamison Sheehan and his sidewinder that dribbled down the sidelines. Just awesome to see the Aussie kick the ball like that. And then big plays. I mean, Winnipeg didn't have too many big plays. Big play VA leads the CFL in attempts over 20 yards and completions over 20 yards. He had 3 over 30 yards tonight. Big game for Vernon Adams Jr. and the now 2-1 BC Lions. These two teams meet again in Winnipeg on August 1st. And they also play in Vancouver on August 16th. So there's still a lot to go between these two teams. As far as the offense went for Winnipeg, look, I don't know about you guys, but this Blue Bombers offense looked a heck of a lot better than it did the first 2 weeks of the season. Zach Collaros, 76%, 247 yards, no TDs, no interceptions, no touchdowns for a third straight game off the arm of Zach Collaros. Might Nick Dembski have pulled one in? Absolutely. But it was just outside of his reach. I don't think it was an overthrow. I don't think it was a drop. I think it was just that close. Chris Streveler, 10 carries for 24 yards, 3 touchdowns tonight. Huge candidate for WALBY'S Warrior tonight. No doubt about that. Just getting a text from Schnitzy here. He says he's going to be along very, very soon. Very, very soon. That's great to see. Brady Oliveira, 64 yards on 9 carries, averaged 7.1 yards per carry. I'll just touch on this right now. I think Winnipeg was trying to light a fire under the butt of Brady Oliveira. I really, really do. And why? Well, he hasn't been healthy. And he did not practice in training camp. Pardon me, guys. Got to send a text here. And he has not practiced for the last 2 weeks. And then they put him at number 2 on the depth chart. And reading between the lines, you know, like I talked about this with Chris Walby on Game Day Winnipeg and our pregame show, as we always do. I know tons of you guys are watchers of the pregame show with the legend Chris Walby. If you watch Game Day Winnipeg with Chris Walby, hit a thumbs up on the YouTube video right now. If you're watching live on Instagram or Facebook, at least I'm trying to get it going on Instagram. I don't know if I am, but we'll see. We'll see if I can get it. We'll see if I can get it going here. I think I can. Boy, technology, hey? And, you know, for Brady, I really do think Winnipeg was trying to send him a message that he needs to get his body into a state where he can practice. And, you know, I don't know if this is the same issue, that kept him out of training camp. It's listed as a knee right now. Whether that's what kept him out of training camp, I'm not exactly sure, but it is a knee right now. And for Brady Oliveira, just reading between the lines of what Mike O'Shea has said over the last couple of weeks, and then, you know, some conversations that I've had with people with ties to the organization, I really do think that they were trying to light a fire under him, and it worked. I mean, to get 7.1 yards per carry, outstanding. Why don't we look at some highlights, guys? What do you say? Before Schnitzy pops in, let's take a quick look. All right, I think I got it. Why don't we just, you know what? Let's just start right from the start. Let's start right from the start. This was the Alexander Holland's play early in the game, just a few minutes in, as BC took a 7-0 lead on their first possession of the game. And Vernon Adams Jr. right there, as you can see, had tons of time in the pocket. And Alexander Holland showing why he was a 1,000-yard receiver and a real breakout player last year for the BC Lions. This was a very, very cool play. I like this one a lot with by Dalton Schoen. This right here is 2nd and 4 on the BC 14. And you'll see Schoen come in motion here, play action to Johnny Augustine. And the job that Zach Collaros did here to not just avoid throwing it away, but here he is getting chased down. I think that's Pete Robertson, but draped on his back and still able to get the ball off to Dalton Schoen. And TSN, of course, who has all of this footage, did a great job showing the replay from the opposite angle. But Dalton Schoen, who, by the way, injured in this game and did not finish the game as far as I am aware, was really the guy. Great job there by Dalton Schoen. As you can see, his feet touching inbounds. Just outstanding work there from the Bombers receiver. Schoen was the guy that Zach Collaros really, really leaned on in the game with Kenny Lawler out of the lineup. And then when Schoen went down, it was Nick Dembski who Winnipeg moved on to. And Dembski finished with a game high 10 targets for 94 yards, 8 catches, 94 yards. And just showing the plays that led up to the eventual Chris Streveler touchdown. But it was that Dalton Schoen catch on 2nd down that extended this drive. There's Chris Streveler's first of 3 touchdowns. It was this Dalton Schoen catch on 2nd and 4 that allowed Winnipeg to score their first touchdown of the game. It was a great play, great throw from Collaros, great play from Schoen to keep his toes in bounds. So we take another look at it here. Like, that's amazing. You know, even doing it the American way, trying to get both of those toes down. I sure don't hope this is the case. Craig Smith mentioning that they were saying Dalton Schoen's injury looked to be serious. That would not be good with, Kenny Lawler down. Look, it wouldn't be good in any case because, Dalton Schoen, for my money, I think is Winnipeg's most reliable, best receiver. Yeah. Interesting comment mentioning that another receiver went down. I did not see that. Of course, the Bombers off Saturday and Sunday. So keep it locked to Bonfire Sports, my Twitter, at Darrin Bauming. And I'll keep you updated on the latest when we do talk to head coach Mike O'Shea. But to throw the ball on 2nd and 4, and then later in the game, 2nd and 6, they would run the ball to Brady Oliveira. I thought Winnipeg did a great job at that. This was on 2nd down. We'll pull this up here. Here's Brady Oliveira and his numbers from last season, which were obviously off the charts. But here's 2nd and 6 late in the first half. And while Winnipeg threw the ball on 2nd and 4, here they are running it on 2nd and 6. So great job, I think, by offensive coordinator Buck Pierce to just be a little bit less predictable. I'm not calling him predictable. I'll just say he did a great job mixing things up to keep the BC Lions a little bit more off balance. Did a great job of that. What else do we got here? Defensively, I thought Winnipeg did some really, really great things. Let's take a look at this play. This is Vernon Adams taking a ton of pressure from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. A ton of pressure. And still able to get the ball out to Travis Fulham. And, you know, he's so elusive. He does such a good job taking that pressure and making things work. So that was the previous play. Here's the next one where Winnipeg tried to bring more pressure and nice play action where it's the opposite of play action, right? This is the other play action where you fake the throw after a handoff. And, you know, play action does work both ways. BC and Winnipeg's offenses, I thought, were both really, really good tonight. And the defensive coordinators had their hands full. There's this play of Winnipeg getting pressure on Vernon Adams Jr. And here, I'll just tee it up for you guys. This play from Vernon Adams Jr. where Winnipeg, and namely, we got it here? Here we go. Now we're cooking. Winnipeg bringing more pressure off the edges. Willie Jefferson, Ali Fayed, 52 right there. And VA just showing his escapability. If you take another quick look at it, like, this is why Vernon Adams Jr. is so good. Because he is looking left, left, left the whole time. Jefferson gets pushed inside. There's Kyrie Wilson, Ali Fayed, who was cut out of training camp and brought back this week following all the injuries on the D-line. But VA still finds a way to escape, extend things, and that led to Vernon Adams Jr. Like, here's a great reverse angle of Vernon Adams. It's his escapability, his quickness, his quick release, his accuracy throwing the ball downfield. This did shake him up and was okay ultimately, which is good news. But I think people have to realize that while Winnipeg might be 0-2 this season, they did lose to a very, very good football team tonight by just 2 points. Great to see everybody. Numbers are flying here on Game Day After Dark with people watching live on YouTube and Facebook, wherever you're watching. Twitter, head to YouTube, find us at Bonfire Sports on YouTube. Conversations I had this week with Willie Jefferson, Buck Pierce, head coach Mike O'Shea. I had a sit down today with Andrew Harris, who of course was honored at halftime at Princess Auto Stadium. Had a great sit down conversation with him at the Silver Heights restaurant, just down the block from Assiniboine Park on Portage Avenue. Kicked it on the patio, had some ribs, had some cold ones, and had a really, really good time. And very insightful Andrew Harris was. If you guys check that out, with Andrew Harris, or if you haven't yet, hit up the comments. Let me know what you think. I thought it was really insightful story time from Andrew Harris. You know, of course, we were talking about his documentary, Running Back Relentless. It's out right now on Google Play and on Apple TV. It'll be out on Amazon Prime next week. He said they had some subtitle issues with the French, and but they'll get that straightened out. And I think Andrew really peeled back a couple layers and revealed so much about his upbringing, his childhood, his trials and tribulations prior to and during his professional football career. And now the lessons he's learned and some great messages for, in particular, young men, really all men, when it comes to, mental health. And I know a lot of guys don't like talking about it, I get it. But that's effectively what we talked about, was how it can be tough. Imagine being in a football atmosphere, a football environment, masculinity is kind of first and foremost, right? So, I advise you to check it out. Great conversation. We talked about football and his legacy and time at the Bombers and going to, winning 3 straight Grey Cups and going to, 2 straight with Winnipeg and, all of those things. The origins of FIFO. I learned more than what I thought I knew about FIFO. Fit in or get out of here. As pinball likes to say in Toronto, forfeit opportunity. It's not forfeit opportunity, but there's a reason FIFO, F-I-F-O, is still up on the walls inside the Blue Bombers locker room and facilities. Also, it's inside the Winnipeg Blue Bombers Grey Cup rings. Here's our new Bonfire Sports intern who's going to be starting at Red River in the fall, Zachary Nolan. Thank you for your help with the Instagram Live. And if you guys haven't yet, be sure to hit up the Instagram Bonfire Instagram. You'll find lots of cool short form stuff there. And Zach's going to be posting, Zachary Nolan, that is, going to be posting some stuff on that soon. All of our socials at Bonfire WPG. And then, of course, YouTube at Bonfire Sports, bonfiresports.ca. You'll find links to all that stuff. Love the comments. Everybody who's joining needs some linebacker help, says Barflies. Good to see you back, Barflies. Haven't heard from you since November last year here on Bonfire Sports. That's awesome. And, well, look who else has popped in. Let's bring him in. Zach Schnitzer. I'm going to fix up your camera, Schnitzy. Oh, there you go. You look good. You look good, my man.
It's too pixelated. What's going on here? Darrin,
no.
I thought
that's your end. Stuff. That's your end. You look great. You sound even better. Initial impressions, Zach Schnitzer, as a man that bleeds blue and gold, who was in the stands at the Madhouse on Matheson tonight. A 2-point loss to the powerful West Division opponents, BC Lions.
Buddy, 0-3 is not what I wanted to see. 0-3 is not what I wanted to see. And
that aside,
I had a great time with my new buddy Ezzy Ginsburg from Illegal Curve. That was a highlight. But other than that, there was some excitement. I think they looked good at times, Darrin. But it was too little too late. They started off slow again, and their defense got exposed in the secondary. And I thought, coming in, Vernon Adams, he's the best deep ball quarterback this year in the CFL. And I thought he's going to torch that secondary. I didn't think he'd be torching the field side on Evan Holm, though, and Tyrell Ford, who played much better last week. And it was sad to see. It was sad. I'm getting into the weeds here, but it was too little too late. And that defense got exposed. And, can you really blame them, though, DB? Look how many injuries they had.
Yeah. I'm of the school of thought that injury should never be an excuse. Like, if your quarterback is healthy and, you're like, it's not like you got every single star player on the team is hurt, right? Dietrich Nichols is hurt. Kenny Lawler is hurt. Beyond that, there's no real big stars that are injured, like the loss of Cameron Lawson and Celestin Haba and Miles Fox. All of those things add up. But the O-line's healthy. Brady Oliveira is healthy. I think we saw that clear as day tonight. We'll talk more about that as the show goes on. Tons of video highlights coming your way for everybody that is just joining us. Thanks for joining us here on Game Day After Dark. We do this every time, following every single Blue Bombers game, home and away. But outside of, one receiver, and we'll see what's up with Dalton Schoen, but there's weaponry for Zach Collaros. There's protection for Zach Collaros. Willie Jefferson, Adam Bighill, Kyrie Wilson. They're all healthy. Dietrich Nichols is a loss on the back end. But I don't think injury is an excuse for this Blue Bombers team. What I do
Streveler
feel,
was
though,
playing but come on, DB. Streveler was playing receiver, for God's sakes.
yes, aren't you happy? Remember a week ago when you were saying, why don't they use Chris Streveler more for this, that, and the other? Here you go.
Yeah, not like that. He was playing receiver because they had nobody left.
No, that's not true.
Schoen goes down. You know, the Wheatfall went down. Who is left to play receiver?
That's
they
not
have
why.
Canadian
Look,
receivers.
late in the game, Chris Streveler's playing receiver, fine. But when they were using him effectively, that was prior to those injuries. They weren't using him out of necessity in those situations. Later in the game, sure. You got Kevin Sclercius, the Canadian draft pick in 2024. Chris Streveler, yeah, you know, you need those guys to fill in. Chris Smith, the running back, you know, we'll talk about his return tonight. Why don't I pull that up? But
pull it up, baby.
Chris, didn't you like Winnipeg's offensive creativity tonight? Well, here.
Yes, I actually did. I thought they did some different things. They ran a counter with. I heard you talking on the pregame with Walby. You know, he loves the counter play. So they ran a counter with Dembski. He got a first down. They ran some shorter throws for sure. There was a little more creativity. They ran the ball more. I'd like to see the final numbers on how many rushes they had, but Brady looked really good. He had a 28-yard run at one point. So yeah, there was some more creative play calling for sure.
Yeah. As far as here we go. Winnipeg running the football, I thought they were very good tonight. Brady Oliveira, 9 carries for 64 yards. Johnny Augustine, who got the start. I don't know about you, Schnitzy, but I sure think that was a message to Brady Oliveira. 4 carries for 15 yards for Johnny. 3.8 ain't bad.
A message. What kind of message? Like and take care of yourself so you're ready for preseason. Exactly. So you're in training camp.
Exactly. Yeah. Brady was ready to go. He was healthy, clearly healthy enough to play. Walby and I talked about this on the pregame. You know, if you're 90%, you're good to go, whatever. But I think there was a message weaved within the fabric of putting him number 2 on the depth chart and not putting him on the field at the beginning of the game. When Winnipeg needed their best players on the field, what did they do? Was it Johnny Augustine out there? No. Week 1, they started Shane Gauthier at middle linebacker. Adam Bighill was injured. Okay, this isn't about Adam Bighill, but all I'm saying is Winnipeg's depth chart is often indicative of deeper sentiments within the team. Why was Shane Gauthier number 1 on the depth chart at middle linebacker? If you watch the game, he did not take a single snap on defense in the first half, but he was the starting middle linebacker. It's because he's the veteran. He's been on the team a long time. He gets that veteran nod of, you're getting the start, even though he actually, in reality, didn't. And that's not a shot at him. I'm just stating the facts of what it was. And similarly, tonight, when Brady Oliveira, the reigning West Division MOP, in the opinion of many, myself included, the CFL MOP last year, ultimately didn't get it because Chad Kelly did in the East, coming out of the East. But Brady was the number 2 running back today. Has not practiced for 2 weeks, didn't practice in training camp. I think there was a message there. Would love to hear everyone's opinion in the live chat. And if you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up or don't.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. So what's your opinion on that, Schnitzy?
Well, you know, honestly, I think Augustine's a good back. He, you know, as Walby says, he could maybe start on another team as a Canadian running back, but I don't know if they were sending, you're closer to this than I am. I don't know if they were sending Brady a message per se, but you know, he wasn't exactly on his P's and Q's in the first game. He was struggling. Even O'Shea, and O'Shea doesn't usually call his players out, Darrin, but he did publicly say that that Oliveira wasn't really moving his feet very quickly, wasn't hitting the holes great in the first game. I don't remember that.
Where did you hear that?
It was in the coach's show, and I think he said it in the post game. He's never critical of his own players. The most vociferous he might be is like, oh, they might want to have some plays back. But that's the worst you ever get. That's the worst you ever get. He was honestly saying that Brady wasn't quite with it in the first game, and
so
maybe Oliveira's, the last thing I'll say is maybe Oliveira has lost the trust of O'Shea a little bit. I don't. It's not the first running back to lose the trust of O'Shea. Maybe he wasn't as serious in the offseason as he needed to be. I don't know. There seems to be some other stuff going on.
I'm showing this highlight here because this is what Brady Oliveira does and Johnny Augustine doesn't. The way he's able to move the pile. Look, there's contact. Okay. There's first contact. He is at the 38-yard line. Okay. Churning, driving, and he gets to the 42. Okay. That's 4 yards after contact there in a, not just one or two tacklers, massive humanity here. And that's Brady Oliveira's helmet, right on Pat Neufeld's left elbow, right above Nick Dembski's helmet. Okay. He finds a way to slither through the pile, drive, reach. Johnny Augustine, I agree with you. He is a good tailback, but he doesn't have the ability to do that at that level that Brady Oliveira does. That's why Brady is the starting running back. He has things, he can do things others can't. Just wanted to mention this. Canadian Advantage, watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Canadian Advantage? Haven't seen you here before. Welcome. I pulled this up a second ago. I'm a bit late, says Canadian Advantage. Injury is an excuse for this team? Give me a friggin' break. Agreed. Injury is not an excuse for this team.
Their D-line was made up of practice roster players, Darrin. Sorry, I'm yelling into the mic. I'm not supposed to do that. I never did creative communications, folks. I'm just a nobody.
You're just a
here.
Blue and gold bleeding.
I'm just an idiot fan that Darrin lets drive the Ferrari every post game. But honestly, dude, yes, injuries are an excuse, but sometimes they're an explanation. And the DBs, not the DBs, the D line was made up of practice roster guys. They didn't get hardly any pressure on Vernon Adams, and you're telling
me Devin Adams, who had
not Devin Adams. I'm not saying Devin Adams.
Jake Thomas.
No.
Okay, Willie Jefferson, practice roster guy.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about what was his
depth.
name? Jamal Woods.
You know what? If everyone was healthy,
who are
the
these
depth
guys?
would be those guys. If everyone was healthy, the depth would be
guys,
rookies in this league.
Who are these guys? One of them needed to be the second coming of Drake Nevis or Stove Richardson, and they just weren't. And the DBs got exposed. They got left on an island.
I want to explore that. Vikings chat reports. Watching live on YouTube. What's going on? Who was BC's running back? That was William Stanback. William Stanback, formerly of the Montreal Alouettes. Stanback had 16 carries for 83 yards tonight. Here's the BC Lions rush attack. Vernon Adams Jr. averaged 4.8 yards per carry as he scrambled 5 times for 24 yards. 5.2, not too bad. Not quite Brady Oliveira's level. But Vernon Adams Jr., 398 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 63%. Thank you very much. Probably a player of the week tonight. Alexander Hollins, he got behind the Bombers defense a couple times, 215 yards. Justin McInnes, who entered tonight, leading the CFL in receiving, he had 6 catches on 10 targets, the most targeted player in the game, 95 yards, including a Zach Schnitzer large of 34.
Large.
Hollins, of course, had that 71-yarder we looked to highlight at a little bit earlier. Travis Fulham, just 3 catches for 8 yards. Or pardon me, 3 catches for 33 yards, but 2 huge second down conversions. Everyone thought Dom Rhymes, Keon Hatcher, like Rhymes going to the Ottawa Redblacks, Keon Hatcher being hurt. BC's got receiver problems. Enter Alex Hollins, Justin McInnis, Travis Fulham. How about this guy? 300 pounds is Andrew Pearson, the big guy, with a catch and run tonight. I got to pull that highlight up, Schnitzy. This highlight is hilarious. Did you see this in the game? BC leading 10-7 with early in the second quarter. And
look at all the time he's got there, Darrin.
Well, yeah, and I want to get into some of those things. The time he had is an operation of the way the BC Lions offense plays. They do so many creative things, similar to Winnipeg. So many creative things where Winnipeg is trying to bring pressure. So there's Andrew Pearson, the offensive lineman. He's lining up at tight end, okay? You got the center, you got the guard, you got the tackle. He's lining up outside of that. They're going double tight end. Here's Mackey, the fullback, and here's Pearson, their sixth offensive lineman. He's lining up at tight end here. And Winnipeg blitzes Adam Bighill. He's picked up by Mackey. You got Jefferson and you got all these guys trying to get to him. Woods in the middle there, right on Vernon Adams, but lots of time. Winnipeg's pass rush in this instance wasn't able to do too much. And then when you do bring that attention to Vernon Adams Jr., oh boy, here's a 300-pounder catching the ball on the chip out play. So dangerous when you can't just rush the quarterback and say, well, okay, the receivers are covered and we can send an extra guy. So many different plays in this game. Here's one in the third quarter where Winnipeg, I thought, did a very good job with some deep attack from Vernon Adams Jr. This was 1st and 10, midfield, early in the third quarter. And here is rookie Terrell Bonds knocking
nice pass breakup.
That pass up. Really was. TSN is going to show a highlight of this. But like Hollins had over 200 yards, and if he pulled in that one, might have been a touchdown. He would have been closing in on 300-yard mark. But yeah, lots of time for Vernon Adams Jr. I don't think Winnipeg brought too much pressure here. You can see they're kind of kicking back, right? Not doing too much. Very wide, trying to keep contain. What is contain? That's when you have the quarterback and you're just ensuring he doesn't get outside. So left side, you got Willie Jefferson. Right side, you got Kyrie Wilson. Adam Bighill kind of spying in the middle flats. And Vernon Adams going deep. And great job from Terrell Bonds to break this up. See? You see the little jersey tug there? This is all hand fighting, normal stuff. But not enough to be penalized, of course. And great job getting his arms around Alexander Hollins to bat that one away. There were people last game, Schnitzy, that were criticizing Marquise Bridges and criticizing Terrell Bonds as being terrible. I hate it when people just say, this guy's terrible. Well, because you didn't like two plays that, he had. I think both of these guys have a ton of potential. Marquise Bridges, in this case, who stepped in for Dietrich Nichols tonight. Here is a catch and a great strip from Marquise Bridges. Again, TSN will show an outstanding angle of this play, but you can see Mike O'Shea very pleased when a rookie getting his first start in the CFL makes a play like that. Marquise Bridges, here's a better look. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say when I came up with a moniker for our three phases: offense, defense, special teams. Darrin, we talked about it earlier on our little chat on my way home from work. It was like the Bonfire big question for each phase. And my Bonfire big question for the defense was Vernon Adams leads the CFL in completions and attempts over 20 yards. And you have Dietrich Nichols gone. And you have Marquise Bridges at the boundary side halfback. And then you've got Terrell Bonds, another rookie, boundary corner. And I thought that Vernon Adams would pick those guys apart. But you know what? For my money, from what I saw, Darrin, untrained eye, he didn't. Those guys did not get exposed. You know who got exposed? Was the other side of the field. Evan Holm got beat by Alexander Hollins on 2 deep balls. And he got exposed last week. So sorry, 2 weeks ago Evan Holm got exposed. O'Shea said he has the best feed he's ever seen in a DB. I don't know what's going on with Evan Holm. I'm not saying it's all Evan Holm. You don't know the coverages and responsibilities, but I thought it was interesting that it was actually the field side with Holm and Terrell Ford that got exposed. Oh, Darrin, we can't hear you. What's going on?
Oh, you got me now. Yeah, you know, from game to game, you never know because teams game plan, right? And what Montreal did that worked against Winnipeg, Ottawa did something different. BC did something a little bit of a mixture, right? Bigger picture, though, I think Bombers fans should feel okay. And tell me if you completely disagree with this from a a media type guy like me. Okay, I think Bombers fans should feel a little bit of relief tonight. I know it ultimately comes down to wins and losses, right? Ultimately, always comes down to wins and losses. But there's 15 games remaining in the season, and Winnipeg showed tonight, despite having injuries. I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but some people think it is. Some people think it's a factor. Despite all of that, they played a much better game than they showed in the first 2 weeks. Because if they played like they did against Ottawa, especially if they showed like they played against Montreal week 1, if they showed that tonight in week 3 at home, I think people would be writing the Blue Bombers off. I don't think there's any reason to write this team off. I think they showed that they can play good football. And yeah, they made mistakes tonight. And yeah, I would say they probably didn't deserve to win. But boy, was it reassuring to see Winnipeg play the way they did. Because I think they're still a good football team. Don't write them off yet.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, DB. I don't know, man. Like 0-3 is 0-3. I mean,
how about 0-5?
It's not what
would you feel bad?
It's not
if
what
it
I
was
want to
0-5?
see. Listen, in this league, you have to go in 6-game segments, and we got to see what happens after week 6. You got to see where they're at after Labor Day, right? Maybe they get some guys back, but Zach Collaros has not thrown a touchdown pass, Darrin. He's the only quarterback, and he still hasn't thrown. Coming into this game, he was the only one who hadn't thrown a touchdown pass. Still hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. Now, I get it. They were on the 1 yard line, 2-3 yard line a couple times with Streveler. He got 3 touchdowns. Steve Berea gave us some popcorn. Me and Ezzy got some free popcorn from, and he didn't give us like an open popcorn, Darrin. It was like a closed popcorn, like a brand new popcorn. That was
I hope lovely.
So. Well,
popcorn's finger food, man. I don't want someone else's finger food.
I would have, you know me, buddy. I don't know
what you're like. You got kids. You got young kids. You probably.
I would have eaten open popcorn from Steve, for sure. Listen, Darrin, I get it. Like there were some moments where they played well. It looked like they were going to come back, DB, and have a walk-off game-winning field goal down 26-24. And that ball is just out of Dembski's fingertips.
Yeah, that was tough.
On 2nd and 6. But you know what? It's not just the injuries. It's not just the talent. It's not just the fact that these guys are getting older, Darren. It's the play calling. Some of the play calling is...
So wait a minute.
They're
Dembski's
third
open.
and 6. No. I'm going to the next one. Third and 6.
Okay. Yep.
Just under 2 minutes left. The defense has literally been eviscerated from the entire game. And they punt it? DT on CJB was saying
there
50%
there
chance
some bad
you get
mistakes.
3rd and 6.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Why are you punting the football and then what happens?
Sam Malone says from behind the bar, this team is cooked.
They're not.
Chris
cooked.
says the glory days are over.
Maybe.
Phyllis giving me some context on Larry, saying that Schoen's a Band-Aid. Okay. I don't really know what you mean by that.
Schoen's a Band-Aid.
The reason I said 0-5, Schnitzy, sorry to re-divert you.
Re-divert? Is that assumes you've diverted me before.
Oh, I'm constantly diverting you.
You've never diverted me before.
All I do is divert you.
That's your job with me and Walby, is to divert us back to the script, right?
The reason I said 0-5 is in 2011, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers got to the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
Just 6 months after the Winnipeg Jets came back. People were feeling good. People were feeling really good. And the Bombers lost in Vancouver in the Grey Cup to the BC Lions, home turf. The BC Lions in 2011 started that season 0-5. And at the end of the year, they were the best team. Not because they won the championship. They were the best team in the league.
Yeah.
And they started 0-5. And they were talking about firing Wally Buono and making changes and all of these things. And they played a lot better down the stretch, got into the dance, and came home with the hardware.
I hear you, but like that is one example. Like that is a massive outlier. That has never happened in the CFL, and we've been around for 110 years. I would love to believe that we are the 2011 Lions, and we certainly have some talented pieces, Darren. I still think Zach Collaros is fine. I don't think he was the problem tonight. I don't think he was the problem against Ottawa.
No. Yeah.
I think he had to knock some rust off, but he was almost at one point in the fourth quarter, he had an 80% completion percentage.
Yep.
He was not the problem. And should Dembski have dived for that catch on 2nd and 6 with 2 minutes left? Maybe he would have had it. No, I'm just saying. All I'm saying, it was that close. I'm not saying Zach overthrew him.
It was that close, but there's nothing Nick Dembski should have done to make that catch.
No, I'm just saying I'm saying Zach was that close. I mean, I think
Zach was better tonight. He missed some throws. He missed a couple throws, but every quarterback misses throws. I remember one on he just threw it kind of low and into the dirt on a Dalton Schoen out route near the sideline to the left instead of the right as Schoen normally goes. But he was keeping it away from the defender. So if he misses, he misses low. I think that's okay. I agree with you. I think Zach Collaros was a lot better tonight. Another reason why I think fans should be a little bit reassured and have a sigh of relief that the Bombers didn't suck. They were good. They lost to a good team by 2 points. And I think the difference in this game,
they didn't suck. I don't know.
Dude, I'm not putting lipstick on a pig. I'm putting this game into context. I think Winnipeg deserves to be 0-3, and they lost tonight because of mistakes by the players, by the coaches, bad clock management. They made some errors. But I believe Bombers fans should be reassured that this team is not a bad football team. The BC Lions, many people picking them to win the Grey Cup. Milt Stiegel picked them to win the Grey Cup. I think, they had a tricky week 1. They were very good against Calgary in week 2, and Calgary was coming off a win and is a much better football team than me and many others could have ever imagined. They came into Winnipeg, and they went toe-to-toe, and it was a 2-point ball game. I think the offense played better. Collaros played better. Brady, Oliveira, the O-line, I think they did enough. They scored, they didn't score 30 points.
They could have. They easily. No, I agree.
They easily could have won this game.
They do not suck. There's reasons to be optimistic. They lost by 2 points. Mind you, BC took a knee at the doorstep of the Bombers on the 1 yard line, could have punched it in. So I think, had it been more time on the clock, BC probably would have won by more. But it was a tight game. Last week was a tight game. They lost by 4 points, Darrin. Like the game against the Owls, the home opener was a blowout. But the last 2 games
they were garbage week 1. They were garbage.
They were garbage. They were hot garbage. But
Ottawa,
these close
stinky.
these close games, these close games are the games the Bombers used to win. And it's sad. It's sad as a fan to see it. The fans got really excited. Like, it was entertaining. I'll tell you that. Me and Ezzy had a great time. Ezzy. Yeah.
Baumer fan saying, watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Baumer fan? Great to see you back. Great to see everybody in the live chat. And I want your take right now on where your urgency and concern level is on this Blue Bombers team. But Baumer fan says, complacency has settled in. The vibe coming out of the post game from the team and the coach is a collective shrug. I kind of got that sense too. However, my take at least on this, if the Bombers are coming out of a loss, a third straight, and they're getting asked the tough questions, how are you feeling at 0-3? And, I think it is a inner wisdom. I think it is a inner maturity, a savvy, if you will, a veteran savvy to say it's going to be okay, because they know they're capable of playing better football. And, if they played like they did against Ottawa, if they played like they did against Montreal, I think it would then be like, holy shit, we're in trouble. But I don't think that's the case. Hit the live chat right now. If you're watching afterwards, hit the comments. If you're listening to the podcast afterwards, thank you. Leave a review in your podcast app or hit the star or whatever. Head to youtube.com/Bonfire Sports. Give us a thumbs up, comment there. Just sign up for a YouTube account. It's free. Do it. I think that's where you should be watching.
Here's another thing I'm optimistic about, I guess. It's hard for me to be optimistic right now at 0-3 and watching this this sort of fall from grace, Darrin. But my Bonfire big question for the offense, for the offensive phase was, the interior O-line has struggled a lot. Ooh, what's this?
Paulie's putting his money where his mouth is. I like that.
Paulie. My Bonfire big question for the offense was, can this interior O-line give Zach a little bit more time than they had the first couple weeks of the season? And to be honest, I thought they did. I thought Zach had a decent amount of time. He was only, from what I gathered, he was only sacked once on the first drive of the game for a loss of 10 yards. Other than that, I think he had time. He didn't look particularly hurried. I thought there was more time for Zach, so that's encouraging against a pretty good D line in the Lions, right? With Tehama and Pete Robertson and guys like that. I thought the O-line did better. I thought the run game was better. It's just, it sucks when it's a game that you could have won. They had no business winning it. When you give up 500 yards of offense, you really probably shouldn't be winning a game. But they like Dembski catches that ball like a foot. There's 2 minutes left.
If Winnipeg handles the game clock better at the end of the second quarter, going into the half, if there's a couple, if the back end of the defense stopped one deep shot from Alexander Hollins, it would have been a different result.
It was close. It was a close game.
Yeah. Comment. You're right. We can let some bombs drop here. It is Bonfire Sports. You do know my last name, so we'll drop one once in a while. Got to mention this, Schnitzy. An important time, as always, to thank our amazing sponsors, including our friends at Scotswood Links. Check them out, scotswoodlinks.com. That's Scotswood with 1 T for those listening on the podcast. ScotswoodLinks.com/bonfire. You get yourself a nice bonus coupon code for, I think it's 30% off. Forgive me if I got that wrong, but 18 holes, super well developed course. I'm going to try to get some more photos from my good buddies down there at Scotswood. This is the more open prairie meadow part of the course. There is a beautiful prairie forest, well-treed, like even more well-treed than this part of the course. Super challenging, super fun. They've done a ton of work. And if your course in the city is still a little soggy, they are dry and green and well-maintained. Scotswood Links is just 30 minutes outside the city. Perimeter and McGilvery, head out on Highway 2, and you'll be there in no time. You won't regret it. Check them out, scotswoodlinks.com. And Schnitzy, I'm going to get you out there. We'll kick back on the patio and talk about this, okay? The end of the second quarter was kind of a tough one. Do I have the right clip here? I think I do. Let's see if I got the right one here. I know you were texting me. You were texting me at halftime. You said, like, what's going on with what happened at the end of the second quarter? So I'll start it over here. This is Winnipeg with 5 seconds left on the clock. You can see the game clock up in the top right corner. Okay. So 5 seconds remaining. Zach Collaros takes the snap. I think it was second and goal. And the decision to throw the football with 5 seconds on the play clock and hoping to remain enough time for a field goal if you miss this. Like, to me, this is where they made the error. Throw the ball, didn't throw it in time. And you'll see that there's 1 second on the clock there. There's Dalton Schoen throwing up the ones. Okay. Unfortunately, the clock started late. Watch the snap. 1 Mississippi, 2. See, I'm already on the second, and the first tick goes off the clock. So afterwards, the best official in the CFL, I mean that with full sincerity, Andre Proulx, after video review, determined there was no time left on the clock. So the error Winnipeg had was deciding to go for it, deciding to run the football on the play earlier. Let me see if I got that one. I think I do.
But is that on the Bombers or is that on the Timekeepers?
No, it's on the Bombers. Timekeepers did it right. They even gave the Bombers an extra second. So here it is with 11 seconds left in the first quarter. 2nd and 2. Okay. Yeah, you got to get a fresh set of downs here. Or, look, you can throw the football like you just did, try to score a touchdown, or try to get a first down, and then you'll have time for another play. But what Winnipeg does here with 11 seconds left is run the football. So what happens? They ended up putting it back to 5 seconds. But you started with 11. So that's 6 seconds where you could have thrown a quick pass and maybe only burned off a few seconds. But you burned off 6 there. They put a second back on the clock, back to 5. And then this is really the second error. Maybe you just kick a field goal here. Or you ensure Zach Collaros gets the ball out here, there, or there. But he waits. And he runs out of time. And Winnipeg gets nothing out of putting the ball on the BC Lions' doorstep. Huge mistake in a game where Winnipeg lost by 2.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, you could argue, maybe this is hyperbole, but you could say it's pretty inexcusable, Darrin. In a close game,
that's hyperbole.
They absolutely had to win. I'm sorry. This is not the 2011 Lions, unless that's a 1 in 100 team. Okay,
Well, you don't think the
110
Winnipeg Blue
team.
Bombers are good enough? That you don't think they're talented enough and frankly good enough to turn their season around? Do you think this team is no good?
I don't.
That's
I'm not saying
crazy
they're
to
no
think that.
good. I'm just saying comparing them to the Lions of 2011, who were an extreme outlier. Like it's very
The Lions
optimistic.
were 0-5, and they were talking about firing Wally Buono.
I know they were 1-6 at one point.
If the Bombers dropped to 0-5, who do they got? They're in Calgary, and then they're home to Ottawa. Those are winnable games, and Calgary is better than people think.
No, I'm just saying that
but they're not 0-5. They're 0-3. But if they're 0-5, are people going to be talking about firing Michael Kay?
1-2 is extremely different than 0-3. They could have been tied with the Lions at 1-2, and you flub the end of the half there in a close game where you absolutely needed the momentum.
I agree, it was a mistake.
Needed 3 points. Like five, anything less than 6 seconds is not enough time to be playing around with the time. That is not enough. You kick the freaking field goal. I'm
Dre
sorry.
on YouTube says, but if Collaros is looking at the clock and it's wrong, that's tough to judge when to throw it away. No? Well, Dre, thanks for the comment. Great to see you here on Game Day After Dark. He's not looking at the clock during the play. He has an internal clock. And as Mike O'Shea said post-game, they have all of these scenarios timed out. That's what good football teams do. I would say almost every pro football team does. They know exactly what to do and how to do it if they have 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, you're kicking. They know what to do. If it was 4 seconds, they probably would have kicked it, but it was 5. And unfortunately, Zach Collaros hung on to it a little bit too long, and they ran out of time. It was a mistake. I kind of give I'm not even going to pretend to know who's actually at fault, but whether it's coaching or Collaros or a receiver ran the wrong route and he wasn't able to get the ball off in time, whatever it may be, that slight hesitation was the difference between 3 points and 0 points, and Winnipeg got 0. They time all of these things out. They know what to do and how to do it based on how much time they have.
Yeah, regardless of why it happened, and I think you're right there, and you got to put it on the offense. I don't think you can blame the timekeeper. You can't blame the timekeeper.
No.
You kick, you just err on the side of caution, kick a freaking field goal. I don't know if I've ever seen a team with 5 seconds left try and gamble like that in a close game. I don't get it. And listen, those 3 points could have really mattered in the end. At the end of the day, I know it's a 2-point game, but it really wasn't a 2-point game because the Lions took a knee on the Bombers' 1-yard line. So if there was more time, the Lions probably would have punched it in with Vernon Adams, and it would have been a wider margin. But those 3 points really could have been the difference in a close game like that.
I'm going to pull up some video highlights of some really good things the Blue Bombers did, but want to mention Kyle's comment. If we shite the bed this year, he's speaking of the Blue Bombers, we need a solid retool next year, like on the O-line and on defense. Well, newsflash. No matter what happens this year, there's going to be a major retool on the offensive line. Stanley Bryant, Pat Neufeld, I don't know how much football those guys have left in them. I'm not saying they're playing poorly. I'm saying both of those guys, either of those guys, could decide to hang it up. So I think there'll be a retool there. Defensively, I think they're still looking for the heir apparent linebacker to Adam Bighill, maybe, Kyrie Wilson, Brian Cole, some of the other young guys that they got that they hope to develop. Hey, Kenny Lawler was on the practice roster of this team for a year and a bit. Now he is a superstar, right? Not everybody's Dalton Schoen where you're a starter day one. Brady Oliveira, he had to wait his opportunity. Now he's an MOP candidate. It takes time. It takes time to find that next line. But Winnipeg is going to have to retool.
Darrin, before you get to the highlights, what happened to Dalton Schoen? Because I didn't see what happened to him.
I do not know.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't know. So this, I think, is probably a lot of people's favorite play today. 1st and 15, the BC 25, Drew Wolodarski just drilling through dudes to get it down to the 1. And TSN did a great job shooting this game tonight. Lots of language on the broadcast tonight. Lots of language. Not saying it was Drew in this instance, but, shots of Strevy and some others. Lots of language on the broadcast tonight. But just amazing play from Drew Wolodarski. And I'll say it right now, Schnitzy. I'm giving one of my game balls to Drew Wolodarski. That was a huge play that led to a touchdown.
Well, Wally was 7 of 7 for how many yards? He had 7 catches on 7 targets for 72 yards with that 24-yarder right there. I thought he had a hell of a game.
There's Chris Streveler's second touchdown of the game, rushing, as he finished with 3 tonight. You going to give Chris Streveler your WALBY'S Warrior, Schnitzy?
I don't know. Are we getting to our awards now, buddy?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. You want to start with WALBY'S Warrior?
Let's do it.
We can start with WALBY'S Warrior.
Yeah, I'm gonna nominate Chris Streveler for WALBY'S Warrior. 3 touchdowns tonight. That's
pretty good.
He did a great job. He did a great job tonight.
Dropped a pass, dropped a second down pass though,
and rebounded from it to do things like this. Okay, check this out. Here's Chris Streveler in a handoff to Brady Oliveira. Look, that's a strong Brady Oliveira run. Chris Streveler in at quarterback. It's 2nd and 3. You're thinking it's Wildcat, right? You got a tight end in right here on the left side of the line. Motion at the inside slot on the other side of the field. And okay, so he hands it off to Brady, and Brady picks up a nice chunk here to get it inside the 10. Nice stiff arm on the BC Lions defender as well. I'll just skip ahead to, well, here, let's take a look at it. They're keeping a close eye on Chris Streveler. Sometimes they like to misdirection run. So you stack the line on the left side. Gosh, they had 2 tight ends. Look at that. Center, guard, tackle, Stanley Bryant right at the goalpost there. And then 2 tight ends to the left. Brady Oliveira right here. And Winnipeg's blocking scheme goes to the right. Watch the whole line. See how they go to the right? This linebacker reads, okay, Streveler's going to do play action and run to the right. But it's a great misdirection, what Chris Walby called for on Game Day Winnipeg in our pregame show. It's a counter. So everybody is to the right. Streveler comes in to block if needed, pick up this defender, Gary Peters. Streveler, then Brady Oliveira's got just great daylight for a chunk run. Huge play from Winnipeg, great creativity, exactly what we've been calling for Winnipeg to do. They did it. This is why I'm saying Bombers fans should be reassured. Winnipeg still has the juice, okay? Very soon after that, here's another play with, actually, I think this is the next play. This is Collaros at quarterback. And you see Chris Streveler still on the field? There he is circled. Glenn Suter did a great job on TSN tonight, highlighting a lot of the offensive things both teams did. But this is double play action, or RPO, run pass option, where you got 2 potential ball carriers. So BC is got their 3 linebackers here, and they don't know where the ball is going. Because, yeah, Brady might have the ball here. Those guys don't know. They're trying to look through this mass of humanity, who, by the way, are all stacking in the middle. That is by design. Who's got the ball? They don't know until really Brady powers through the line of scrimmage. But this fake, it seems so far away from the play That keeps these linebackers from penetrating that line more than they have and allows Brady to slip through. So they used Chris Streveler so well. And I kept this in the highlight here. There's Gary Peters just not letting go of Brady Oliveira's leg. We'll get a better look on the replay. But here's a look at Streveler. And I mean, if you're a linebacker, it's hard to ignore Chris Streveler standing near Zach Collaros. But here's Gary Peters. Look, the play is over. Okay. Look, down he goes. Okay. Play's over. Other guys are already getting up. Peters, at this point, hangs on tighter than ever. Not really cool. It is a veteran thing. And Gary Peters, one of the best players in the CFL. Mark my words. One of the best players in the CFL. Hanging on to Brady's leg. Hey, it happens. But this final play, here's Chris Streveler's third touchdown of the night. And you see how fired up Brady Oliveira is punching the goalpost bag. Love to see that. Schnitzy, that's why I'm saying, okay, through the first 2 weeks of the season, the biggest issue with Winnipeg was the offense, maybe lacking some creativity, lacking execution, lacking the ability to put together a good game plan, to beat Noel Thorpe's defense with Montreal, to beat the Ottawa Red Blacks. They didn't score enough points. They scored 12 against Montreal. They scored 23 against... They scored 23 last week against Ottawa? I think so.
19.
They lost 23-19. They scored 24 tonight. Could have been better, but could have been better results on the scoreboard. But the offense and seeing what they were doing there, if Zach Collaros isn't playing particularly well, I thought he played pretty good tonight. But that just shows what they can do without Zach Collaros being relied on, leaned on to move the chains.
I know you're optimistic, buddy. I don't know if I'm
Don't
there.
Get optimism mixed up with objectivity.
No, you think you're being objective. Oh, okay.
Of course I am.
Throws down the objective.
I watch every game in the league. I look at all these teams. I dropped, humble brag. I made a ton of money last night watching that Montreal-Ottawa game and hitting the over-under in the third quarter. It was at 61, and I'm like, these teams are not done scoring. And they ended up finishing with 70, what was it?
So you're telling me you're making a bunch of money here, and you still haven't given me any money from the super chats.
No, I told you it's in the mail, man. It must have got lost. I'm gonna have to cut you another check. Maybe I'll send you an international money order.
You sent me a check in the snail mail.
An international money order.
Yeah, I have a mortgage payment coming up. Come on, buddy.
That's not my problem.
It's going to be your problem when I come sleep at couch.
Okay. Well, maybe you need to hire Chris Walby to be your warrior.
Yeah, well, who is my warrior? My warrior was Drew Wolatarski, buddy.
Okay.
I love that play on 1st and 15 where he gets 24 yards. Bunch of yak there. His helmet comes off. Getting all fired up. He caught everything that was thrown at him. 7 for 7 for 72 yards. Love that from Drew Wolatarski, especially on a night where Wheatfall goes down, and more importantly, Schoen goes down. You kind of needed a receiver to step up, and he did.
Honorable mention to Shane Gauthier for this huge smack on specials. I thought Winnipeg's cover teams, that was one of our keys to the game in the pregame show. I thought Winnipeg's cover teams were a lot better tonight. Another reason for objective optimism, Schnitzy, but this was just an awesome hit from Shane Gauthier. So honorable mention for the Walby Warrior tonight. Watch this. I'm going to just do it frame by frame. That is a perfect shoulder on helmet hit on Terry Williams. And just that's the physical. Look at his teammates. Look how fired up they are for Shane Gauthier. Yeah, because he's a veteran. Yeah, because they haven't been good enough lately, the cover teams. But to watch it again in real time, this was a play that the guys will have fun watching tomorrow morning at the facility when they're going over film. Yeah, it would have been better with a W tonight. Yeah, it would have been better if this team wasn't 0-3, but they are going to go to work and they are going to keep playing and holding themselves to that very high standard, that Mike O'Shea Winnipeg Blue Bombers football standard, because there's no looking back. So say what you want about, what you think of this team and optimism and, silver linings and, well, this or that. Hey, I think objectively, Winnipeg is still a good football team. Will they be at the bottom of the power rankings this coming week? They're the only 0-3 team, probably. But I would be look, if this was a stock, I'd be buying the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now.
Well, and they did improve on special teams. I think that's a good video to show from Shane Gauthier. My Bonfire big question: through 2 games, Winnipeg was gaining 5.7 yards per punt return. I think Chris Smith had around 8, and they were allowing 16.5 yards per punt return. Both averages were last in the CFL. Like I said, Smith was fine on returns. He even had a pretty decent one. I think he had a good kick return with punt returns.
And look at this.
He had 8 yards per punt.
Nearly blocked too. This is Nick Hallett coming off the edge. Ooh. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're not. Yeah, that was the one. That was a nice punt return.
Yeah, I think it was a 28-yard return. It ended up there were some penalties on the play that forced Winnipeg back.
Yeah.
But either way, to see Chris Smith make a move like this, whoop, like, man, that's nice stutter step there. Like, if you watch his left foot right there, he just plants it. That's hard to do at that speed. As look at Manny Rugamba rolling down on the turf there, 33 behind Chris Smith. Chris Smith makes Rugamba miss and then hits the brakes to give himself space to break to the outside. Really well done.
Yeah,
Vladek, leading tackler in the CFL right there as well. So not doing it against some schlubs, doing it against some really good football players.
Nice use of the word schlub.
You like
Love
that?
it.
Yeah.
Yiddish word. I knew you were an honorary Jew, Darrin. Well, you're one of us. You never know.
I enjoy all the cultures. I really
enjoy all
do.
the cultures.
I enjoy all the cultures.
So we were allowing 16.5 yards per punt return up until this point, and they only allowed 8. So they really almost cut that down by half. I think Mike Miller, the killer, did a very good job on special teams and cleaning that up tonight. So that was something I'm optimistic about for sure.
Yeah. So we've gone through WALBY'S Warrior. I will just say the way they handled the game clock at the end of the second quarter, at the end of the first half, is my Westwood wide to the right. Would you agree?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. So moving on to you want to do the happy honker?
That was weak. It cut out halfway through. You have to have a full happy honker there.
There you go. You got a moment you enjoyed particularly tonight?
Well, I don't know. Was it when Steve Berea gave me a full thing of popcorn that me and Ezzy enjoyed? I don't know. That might have been a close second.
Nobody cares about your free popcorn that you brought up 3 times already tonight. Okay, congratulations.
It was unopened.
Great. What did you enjoy about the football game tonight? The reason that there's 1,000 people watching us right now.
Okay, fine. Listen, there were almost 32,000 people there, Darrin.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And a happy honker has to go to Andrew Harris.
I like it.
Honored at halftime. You had that great video with him at the Silver Heights restaurant patio. I just thought it was cool to honor Andrew Harris. Played for the Lions. They were our opponent. I thought that was great.
Oilers going 7. Is that the 7? Where's the 7? Is that the 7? I think that's the 7.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Going to game 7. I'll give my happy honker to the 33,000 tonight. The number 33 honored at halftime. Andrew Harris, straight up talked about how it all went down when he didn't re-sign with the Blue Bombers and going to the Argos and going to the Blue Bombers locker room following the Grey Cup in Regina where the Argos came back to win and talking to his former teammates. Really, really insightful stuff. So be sure to check that out on the Bonfire YouTube page. What do I got? Oh, yeah.
Bonfire Burning Point.
Yeah, Bonfire Burning Point. You were mentioning the Wolatarski. Had they won, that would have been, I think that would have been my Bonfire Burning Point had they won.
Yeah. I honestly think this is kind of low-hanging fruit, but I honestly think that near catch by Dembski, a 2nd and 6 with about 2 minutes left, when they were trying to march down to kick a game field goal, they just missed that 40-yard bomb. That might have been could have been the game, Darrin, and they miss it. They punt, which could have been a Westwood wide to the right. I don't think they should have punted. Baumer fan agrees with me here on the chat. You're 3rd and 6. You have the highest paid player in the league in Zach Collaros. You have a leaky defense that's allowed, at that point, it was about 430 yards of offense. Don't punt. Leave it in the hands of your offense. Kill some clock. Go kick a game-winning field goal. But anyway, I thought that was the Bonfire Burning Point. Just missed. Missed it.
I don't disagree completely, but just for sake of being different, I will give the Bonfire Burning Point to getting 0 going into the first half. Yeah. That's an avoidable situation.
Are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed
maybe they were greedy. Were they greedy?
Yes.
Maybe they were greedy.
It was stupid. Yeah. Are you allowed to give that same play your Bonfire Burning Point and your Westwood wide to the right? Are you allowed to do that?
Yep, I am. Do you know why?
Because you're driving the Ferrari.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, we got a super chat.
Hey, Christian Paulson, $10. Thank you, Christian. Schnitzy, I'll e-transfer you that right away. Great night for football. Too bad the team couldn't pull it out. Thanks for the insight. Hopefully they can get things going next week. Christian, thank you. Appreciate you so much, and everybody in the live chat. If you're in the live chat right now, you don't have to super chat and send us money, but just be sure to not hit the thumbs up. Don't subscribe. Don't do any of those things. Don't comment and join everybody around the bonfire as they have been. Don't do those things. Don't do it. Schnitzy, you know how to parent, right? A little bit of reverse psychology.
Works on my son every time.
Yeah. Really? Bonfire Burning Point comment, end of the half. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Bob Cameron, ball out at the 1. Yeah, I mean, those are great moments. Can I pull this up? This, I'm going to give a game ball to Jamison Sheehan tonight. Check out this punt. This was awesome. Third and 8 in the second quarter, and Winnipeg deciding to punt it. And I thought it was a smart decision to punt it to Schnitzy because they're backed up. There's still 2 minutes left. Okay. And yeah, they want to get a score before the end of the second quarter. They did get the ball back. They were right on the doorstep. But watch this punt from the Aussie, who is now a Californian, Jamison Sheehan, or Jam, as they call him. Sidewinder kick, rolls. Watch closely if you can see the way he kicks it off the side of his foot.
I thought he duffed it. The whole section around me was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, because you're sitting to Sheehan's left. You're above the cheer team here, right?
No, we're to the right. We're on the west side. West side, buddy. We're west side.
I thought you were east side.
No, east side. East side sucks.
You always have such a sunny demeanor. I thought you were on the east side.
No, buddy. East side sucks.
Okay, buddy. Stop calling me buddy. Great job by Jam Sheehan to get a great roller. No return from Terry Williams, and Williams wants the flag. Oh no, that was a legal kick and rolled down the sidelines and out of bounds. You ain't getting a flag for that. Good shot of Andrew Harris here afterwards as well.
Why was Andrew Harris wearing that retro jersey with number 10 on it, by the way?
Well, he said on TSN that he felt weird. Here he is having a moment of levity with Darren Cameron of the Blue Bombers communication team, of course. He mentioned on TSN that he feels weird wearing his own jersey. I agree. It would be weird to wear your own jersey when you're not playing. So he's wearing the retro fit, the retro drip, if you will. The Rod Hill, number 10. John Liu, of course, on TSN said, was that a bit of a hat tip to Nick Dembski wearing 10, but just a little retro drip in the Rod Hill he was rocking. I like that.
He was wearing a Ryder jersey last week in week 2.
What do you mean?
But Andrew Harris in Hamilton, he was watching his buddy A.J. Ouellette, and he was wearing a Ryder jersey.
Oh, see? When you're retired, you can become a fan of the league. What about Lucky Whitehead? When he was a member of the BC Lions, he's rocking Bombers gear.
Oh, that was
at hilarious. The game with the fans, right?
Love that. That's one of my favorite memories on the Bombers.
I want to show a clip here and do a little bit of film breakdown because I think we can learn something here. The Blue Bombers defense, and again, Glenn Suter doing a great job illustrating this on TSN, but mentioning Alexander Hollins and I think it's Travis Fulham. So he points to these two receivers, the inside slot and the boundary receiver, or pardon me, the receiver to the boundary. That would be the one on the outside right here. And watch Winnipeg's zone defense, okay? You got Terrell Bonds, you got Marquise Bridges, starting forward, Dietrich Nichols. You have Retta Cramdy, you have Brandon Alexander, okay, to that side of the field. Here's Willie on the edge and Big Hill at middle linebacker. What does Vernon Adams do? Okay. He takes the snap, one step hitch. A hitch is when a quarterback, drops his foot, puts his foot in the dirt, and he's ready to throw it. Okay. One step hitch, pump fake. This looks like it's going to Hollins in the flat. So that makes Bridges bite. That makes Bonds bite, 24. That makes Retta Cramdy bite. And it allows these two receivers, watch this one above the 50 on the inside. As those defenders bite, here's Bonds saying they're going over the top. They're not throwing to Hollins. And great direction routes, at least that's what I used to call them back in the day, to find the pocket and spin the dime backer, Retta Cramdy, who's right here, to spin him. Because Bridges and Alexander, they have to watch the deep here. Spin him and sit him in a pocket. There he is. They even, were able to extend it deeper downfield. I thought he was going to kind of cut to the outside, but instead of going towards the sideline, he cuts it upfield so he doesn't have to throw it over the defender's head. That's always tougher to do. By over his head, I mean if he went here to the sideline. But just a great job by the BC line. That's how you beat a zone defense. That's how you beat it. I'll let it play in real time. And what's your takeaway from that, Schnitzy?
Just another, it was well executed by BC, but
it's not always the soft zone, right?
No, but it's just another instance of the Bombers secondary getting burned tonight. They had 3 passes over 30 yards.
I don't see this as the secondary getting burned. I see this as an offense executing incredibly well. This is game planning. This is scheming. This is taking advantage, calling the right play at the right time to beat a defense. It's not that Winnipeg got burned. When I hear, the Bombers defense got burned again tonight, I hear they messed up. BC was just better on that play. Better play call, better execution. It's not that Winnipeg did anything wrong. There's two teams playing, right?
That's fair. Yeah, you're right.
I just
want to say one time where, Marquise Bridges gets burned. I want to say Bridges were burned. Bridges was burned. That's all. No, that's a fair point.
Burn the bridges. Oh, I got you.
Burn the bridges, right?
I'll give you that one. That's a nice
Baumer fan calls it a scissor route. Corner and post. Interesting.
Okay. I like that.
You're right. Maybe it's unfair. Maybe it's Baumer fans agreeing with me that Bridges got burned. Baumer fans saying he needs to take the outside road in that coverage. So there you go. Bridges did get burned.
No, I don't think that's true. Here's Bridges. Bridges is playing deep quarters or deep thirds. He's playing this deep part. And should he have broken off? Well, no. His zone is back here. This is what zone defense means. This is how you beat a zone. They have the safety and the inside half both guarding the same player. This is good play design by BC. Should Bridges have cut back to this? Well, what if the Vernon Adams throws it over to the top? He has to protect his zone. That's his job.
So then whose job was it to take...
Well, I mentioned Retta Cramdy gets spun because it's, the scissor route, right? The inside and outside slots split. And watch Retta Cramdy.
So you don't think Cramdy gets burned there then?
Cramdy gets spun. Absolutely. Should he be
spun
turning his back
burned?
Like that? I think he realized. See, Hollins staying in the flat here keeps Bonds needing to watch him. Normally, you would think he would be coming inside or going down the sideline, whatever. So you'd have another defender here. That's why Bonds, at this point, starts pointing. He goes, I can't cover this spot.
And maybe Cramdy shouldn't have stopped there and assumed it was a hitch. If Bonds has that responsibility.
Yeah, and Cramdy has this guy right here. And look, do you really think a defender should be turning this way? Whoa, he got totally flipped around. And they did a great job stretching it down the field. Alexander and Bridges. I don't see Bridges as getting burnt. Maybe Bridges took a little bit too much attention. Either way, I think this is great play design by the BC Lions, great execution. And hey, you can always in hindsight say, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Mistake was made. But I don't hate I don't hate the way Winnipeg played tonight.
I don't hate it either. I don't like it, but I don't hate it.
You got a game ball?
I got my game ball. Nick Dembski. 8 catches on 10 attempts for 94 yards, Darrin, including a crazy one-handed grab. I don't know if you have a clip of that one.
I don't.
But he had a crazy one-handed grab. But then I think the bigger game ball has to go to Alexander Hollins. 7 catches on 8 targets for 215 yards. That is an incredible stat line, and I think you have to give kudos to him, and maybe another game ball to the best deep ball thrower in the game right now, in Vernon Adams, doing it again, 398 yards, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, two game balls for the Lions, which I think they deserved.
I'm gonna give a game ball to my WALBY'S warrior tonight, Chris Streveler. I think another player deserving of it is Willie Jefferson. I know his numbers or impact on the game is not apparent, but he is getting all of the attention of opposing offenses right now because he's the most talented player on the field. And that's not an easy thing to do. So I'm going to give Willie Jefferson a game ball. I thought he did a really good job. Q-Man playing cut defense, Bridges third, not the Sam's fault. Very well could be correct. Craig Smith agrees. Okay. I will
Bridges burned.
Defer. Yeah. No, bridges didn't get burned. Bauming got burned. But you know what? If you get a little bit nicked up, if you get a little bit hurt, this is all you got to do. Go see our friends at Pure Lifestyle and Pure Medical and Pure Wellness. They'll take care of you because they're Winnipeg's premier proactive healthcare facility, advancing healthcare excellence. Great people over there. And what's awesome is if you got a sprain, a strain, a break, a cut, they got you covered with their minimal wait time, minor injury walk-in clinic. Brand new, super short wait times, x-ray on site, stitches, casting. They'll get you back on your feet in no time to enjoy summer. And then, of course, great gym facilities. And as I've said over and over again, Pure are just amazing people. Check them out at 1129 Empress, just north of Polo Park. They're right by Garbage Hill. Awesome people. purewinnipeg.com if you want more information. Them and all our sponsors available in the video description below. Yeah, John Elliott, I agree with you. Game ball for Chris Streveler, his 3 touchdowns. That's who I gave it to tonight. If you have a business out there and you want to get your message out, email me, winnipeg@bonfiresports.ca. winnipeg@bonfiresports.ca. Let's have a conversation. We'll get your message out and you can join our amazing sponsors that help support us here on Bonfire Sports because we're growing like a weed. It's crazy. And that's because of everybody out there watching, listening, commenting, not hitting the thumbs up, not subscribing, not doing those things that help us so much. I say that, of course, in jest, tongue in cheek, for those that can't see my face right now. Thank you, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I know talking to a couple players, people watch and listen all across the United States, which is super cool. So they can keep tabs on their loved ones that are up here playing for the Bombers, coaching the Bombers. I see you out there. We see you. Thank you. Appreciate you a whole lot. Yeah. So, Schnitzy, on that note, I'll give you final word, as I always do.
0-3, don't like to see, but sayonara.